and welcome to Shame to Shine. I am Steph. I am so happy to be here today with Taylor Pinkston. Taylor is the heart advocate, and she is a licensed self-love social worker and mental health professional. So, really, really aligned with what we're talking about here in Shame to Shine. Taylor, welcome, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Steph. Thank you for having me back. Good to see your face. Lovely to be here as always.
Awesome. Yes, good to see your face too. So, let's dive right in and talk about what is the shame that we want to bring to the surface
Mhm.
and not to focus on as like, oh, these are the bad things that happen, but more to really give a sense of how connected we are and how when we are in pain and shame, we often feel really isolated and alone. So
Yeah.
the initial goal of bringing up like this is a common experience for a lot of
Hmm.
us is to get to that shared sense of you're not alone
You're
actually
not.
in feeling
Yeah.
this way, and it is possible to transform it. And so that's what these
Hmm.
stories are all about, of
Hmm.
just like different flavors of
Hmm.
the shame to shine. So tell us, Taylor, what is the shame that you want to share with the audience today? Your initial shame story that you have since made your way out of.
Yeah, thank you for asking and for giving me the opportunity and the platform to share. Uh, for me, so much of the foundation of the birthing of the Heart Advocate came from my shame, my fear, my guilt.
Mhm.
Um, very much under the umbrella of staying too long. I think, not I think, I know that I stayed in a unhealthy relationship that involved verbal abuse, that involved emotional abuse, that involved me supporting a partner who was struggling with their own mental health and substance abuse, specifically alcohol, and a lot of just undiagnosed disorders, so to speak. And a partner who was very much unwilling to do much about it. And I don't even want to say unwilling. I want to say just not in contemplation if we're thinking about the cycle of change, like very much in pre-contemplation, not seeing it as the problem that it was. And through the love and care that I had for that individual, I felt almost responsible
Yeah.
for helping them through it,
Mhm.
for being their support person, for loving them anyway. Um, I thought that that made for, I thought that what was love all about. Um, and so I stayed too long. And at that time, this was maybe from 2010 to 2015 when my daughter was born.
Mhm.
There was a gradual progression of seeing the red flags and ignoring them,
Yeah.
and watching how that changed me as well. Like I began to take on some of those toxic behaviors just from being in proximity to someone who was really struggling to take ownership and accountability, but also, like I said, in pre-contemplation of there being a problem at all. Um, and so I had a lot of shame around expressing to my support system what the blackouts were like.
Mm.
So I would witness my partner you know, drink heavily, say and do a lot of cruel things,
Mm.
and then completely forget the next day that any of those things happened. And so I was the only one that had the experience, and I was made to feel like I was supposed to get over it because, they didn't even remember. And it was just the alcohol, and it's not that big of a deal, and just let it go. And there were multiple moments of no closure, no conversations after, no um again, taking accountability. And so during that time frame of like 2010 to 2015, I didn't see the verbal and emotional abuse as violent.
Mhm.
And I definitely wouldn't have categorized it as intimate partner violence, but that's what that is. To be, called out of your name, threatened to leave you, threatened if you leave, they're going to hurt or harm themselves,
Yeah.
that nobody else will ever want to be with you.
Mm.
Um, there were so many, like even there was a moment where a wall was punched
Yeah.
and things were broken.
Mm.
So it's like that is intimate partner violence. And we were also living together for some of that time. Um, but at that time, even with all of the social work degree that I have, and you know, um, it's interesting how you can support other people with the exact same concerns. And you know exactly what to say, and you know exactly what to do, and you find the resources and you do the work. But when it's happening to you, it's almost like your brain shuts down and just tries to focus on safety and protection as opposed to like advocacy and action,
Yeah.
you know? And so I want to say within the last 5 years, I came to the realization like, oh, you were in an intimate partner violence, domestic violence situation,
Mm.
despite it being physical or not.
Yeah.
To to be manipulated and gaslit, and for names to be called, and that person not remember
Hmm.
and not be able to provide you with any aftercare.
Hmm.
It was violent to my mental and emotional health and well-being.
Hmm.
And I carried that. And I don't think to this day I've explained it the way I'm explaining it to you right now, because I've shared parts of my story with other amazing podcasts like yourself, but I don't think I've explained it like this ever. But that's what that is. And I think it's because I'm in a new relationship that feels really healthy. And so now I can see everything that was so unhealthy from a different perspective.
That is so powerful. And there are a few different things you said that I feel like are incredibly relatable. This
Mhm.
one piece around feeling like you were responsible for them feeling good about themselves, which is a role common to empaths
Mm,
of really absorbing, like I sense what you need, and and then like if I give you what you need, it it can do all sorts of things. For some people, it's like that makes me feel enough, that
mhm,
makes me valuable, that makes me feel safe because
mhm,
now your negative emotions aren't overwhelming me. So
mhm,
it's like a that is so common. And and then the piece around not really feeling like you could express that you either didn't feel safe or weren't getting what you needed in the relationship because that's what love is. Relationships take work. Relationships
mhm.
are hard
Yes,
and and you probably wanted to protect them as well and
yes.
not speak negatively about them to your friends.
Mhm, mhm,
So there's just so much wrapped up in that that is really relatable. And I am curious, then it reached a point where you realized this was costing you so much that
mm,
it couldn't go on. So
mhm.
what happened that where you reached that point?
So a lot happened in 2015.
Mm,
2015 was, if my life was like a series or a movie, that was like the climax, or like the catalyst, right? Um, I was graduating with my master's in social work. I had found out I was pregnant with my daughter, and my daughter was born all in 2015. I also got diagnosed with prenatal depression and generalized anxiety disorder during 2015. The truth is, when I saw my daughter, and I was still trying to make my relationship work because obviously I have this little girl now and I want us to be a family.
yeah.
Um, I just knew that I didn't want her to ever feel the way that I felt in a cohabitating, unmarried, felt more like a roommate than like a lover. Like, I just did not want her to ever allow herself to settle
Mm,
for that type of connection,
mm,
whether intimate or not.
mm,
And I don't think I had the language and the, complete, it's definitely hindsight, but that is when I started researching self love
mm.
because everybody was talking about it on social media. And I had went to therapy. So, I'm talking to my therapist for a short period of time, but frequently, um, and just trying to find myself in the middle of trying to make my relationship work. I still wasn't ready to end it.
Mhm.
Um, and so through Googling self love, I found the Path of Self Love School.
Mm.
And everything I was reading that Christina Rilo put together in this certification program, I wanted. I was like, I need it. I was craving it, but I couldn't afford it, you know. Um I just reached out to her and her team, told them parts of my story, why I wanted the program, and they scholarshiped me.
Awesome.
And without that grace,
Mhm.
the heart advocate wouldn't exist at all. At all. And so from 2017 to 2022, I tried to make it work
Yeah.
with my partner. I got certified in self-love. I set strong boundaries and expectations. I kicked him out a few times and, practiced being a full-time single mother. And that last time we got back together, um, he had lost his his mother. And I think that grief kind of triggered old behaviors that I had made clear that I would not tolerate or allow. And that first sight of them, I ended it, and we have not been, you know, there's no trying to make it work. I'm not interested. Um, so I know for sure that going through the path of self-love and learning to treat myself as enough, not just know that it's true. Because a lot of times you can ask somebody, do you love yourself? And they'll say yes. But do you behave that way?
Mm,
And that answer for me was no. And I wanted to be able to say yes really loud, that I treat myself like I'm enough, that I'm worthy of love, that um, I am capable and qualified and worthy, of not just being loved by others, but truly loving myself. And I think that that shows up in your behaviors.
wow. That is an amazing journey, and I love this distinction of not just say I'm enough, but treat myself like I'm enough. And what do you find, how do you check in with yourself and answer that question? Like what behaviors do you look at?
So, um, the biggest thing in terms of the practicing of self-love, to me, again, if you ask somebody else, they might say something completely different. But for me, it's my ability to be compassionate with myself. And compassion is a few things, but it's definitely being understanding, patient, and gentle
Mhm.
with myself. And so paying attention to how I allow myself to be soft,
Mm,
how I allow myself to slow down, how I allow myself to make mistakes, how I allow myself to stumble and fumble. Um, when I give myself the grace that has been given to me. And then also, how that transfers to how I treat other people, because, the main word in self love is love.
yeah.
And love is a worldwide community, everybody word. So you can't self love and not love your neighbor.
Mhm.
Um, so if I have been blessed through the grace of others, then I want to be graceful towards other people as well. So just paying attention to my ability to be compassionate towards myself and to others is a way that I check in. I also do the self-love assessment. So if you go to the Path of Self-Love school, if
Mhm.
you go to their website, they have a self-love assessment that you can take. And it gives you like a breakdown of what areas of self-love you're that need some strengthening.
Mm,
Um, so there's that as a check, and I try to do that like every 6 months or so, definitely annually. But also my relationships are a very clear check-in. Who I allow in my life
mhm,
will show me everything I need to know about how what I feel about myself.
mhm,
If I allow um, people who um, again gaslight and manipulate and are harsh and cruel and hold you to a standard that's unrealistic and don't allow you to be a human. Um, the people in my life don't treat me like the heart advocate. They treat me like Taylor.
yeah.
They allow me to be Taylor. And so I pay very close attention to people who actually respect my boundaries. Like that's a reflection on how I respect my boundaries and don't,
Mm,
just allow toxicity. I don't settle for less
mm.
than I desire. So those are some of the ways that I check in with myself.
This is extremely powerful because even as you're talking, I'm getting this feeling of how you had an expectation of yourself back in,
Mhm.
2000 up to 2015 and even
Yeah.
beyond to give that compassion and grace and understanding to other people, but there's an expectation of self to maybe be like almost virtually perfect and
Mhm.
to
Mhm.
be okay and
Mhm.
to put up with inappropriate behavior, harmful behavior, and just like heal yourself real quick through the
Mhm.
night and be okay
Mhm.
the next day. And that your journey to self-love has been like, oh no, I don't give that to other people if I'm not giving it to myself. I give it to
Mhm.
myself, and then other people benefit who are
Mhm.
also honoring those boundaries. So how for people that are still a little bit like on their own journey, as it's an evolving journey of self-love that we're all on.
Absolutely. Yeah.
For people who are still putting that pressure on themselves to really be strong and go more than like have unrealistic expectations of themselves in
Yeah.
relationships, what would you tell them? What advice would you give them in that space?
Um, I think I would first say that the relationship that you have with yourself is your most is the relationship that impacts all of the others that you're in. And so just like you're saying, Stephanie, like how you treat yourself, we think that we, even if we're not treating ourselves well, that we are treating others really well. I didn't become the mother that I am, the friend that I am, the daughter, the sister that I am without self-love. I think I um either was just a people pleaser
Yeah.
completely or selfish. And it was just like you either got this or you got that. And now I include myself when I love others.
Yeah.
So it looks more community as opposed to like selflessness.
Mhm.
That that doesn't feel right. You're a whole human and you should be present in every relationship. So I don't think it should be selfless. It definitely shouldn't be selfish where you don't even think about others at all. It's self-love. It means, seeing the other person's love and valuing the love that they have for themselves and two people connecting together. Uh I know that when you strengthen how you trust yourself, how you take care of yourself, how you respect yourself, um, how you are compassionate to self, how you accept even the parts of you that are hard to love, that you can look at other people and do the same for them. Because if you can give it to yourself, you're more likely to give it to someone else. And I don't think we realize how lacking we are in that because of not doing the work. And so I know that I make a self-love journey sound simple in a lot of ways because I'm very well versed in it, but I'm not an expert. I'm still a student of
Mhm.
self-love and I hope I'm always a student because I don't want to ever not be able to absorb and to learn
Mhm.
because we change all the time. I'm going to need to love 6 months from now, Taylor, and I don't know who she's going to be, So I strongly suggest that whoever is listening to this and they're like, I need me some of that, that you start with just basic kindness towards yourself
Mhm.
and then get into, the practice of being patient and gentle and forgiving of yourself. My shame sat in the expectations that I felt were placed upon me to be perfect,
Mhm.
to have perfect relationships, to have the degree, to have a certain life at a certain age.
Mhm.
And so I hid anything that didn't reflect that.
Mhm.
And I would isolate
Mhm.
and not spend time with people because I didn't want them to ask.
Mhm.
I was sick of lying to make my relationship seem better than it was.
Yeah.
So we would just stay in the house a lot. Um, so my shame was a projection of what I thought, my parents, my family, my friends, society wanted of me instead of just allowing myself to be an imperfect human. The opposite of self love is perfection.
Ooh. I have never heard it said like that.
Again, somebody else might say something different, but I think if you are trying to be perfect in every nook and cranny of your life, and I don't think we can run from it completely, just like we can't run from something like capitalism. Um, if you are trying to be perfect, you more than likely are obsessed with failure.
Yeah.
You are dealing with that imposter syndrome, never feeling like you do enough. Um, what is loving about that?
Right, right. And then for
So,
the people you do love, like your daughter, seeing that it's motivation of like
hmm
who really do you love in your life? Let that be
hmm
motivation
hmm
to love yourself and be able to give so much more.
yeah,
And you've seen on the other side that as you do that, that you are able to give more.
yeah,
Yeah.
hmm
Like you said,
hmm
be a better, not even be a better, but be the daughter and friend and mother, sister that you are. So that's
hmm
gorgeous. Absolutely
yeah,
gorgeous. And I just love how you brought it back full circle to talk about how your shame was around your life not being the perfect, like checking all the perfect boxes that
yeah,
you were told you should do.
hmm
And
hmm
then not really being able to be yourself around
hmm
people. And now that going full circle and transitioning into really showing up authentically with yourself first and then with
hmm
other people and teach at starting the Heart Advocate and
hmm
helping others to do the same. So
yeah,
we'll make sure to have all of your links for people who are like, I have to find out more about Taylor and her work and her story. And
absolutely.
is there anything, the links will be there, but anything you want to share about people checking out your community?
I spend most of my time on Instagram and I don't have like a personal Instagram and then a heart advocate Instagram. I am the heart advocate, so
Okay.
that shows up everywhere I am. Um, but before anything, I'm a mother.
Yeah.
Um, and so, if you're on Instagram, you're going to see encouragement, yes. You're going to see advocacy because I am a social worker. But you're also going to see like the things that I love, my family, my friends, um, yes, my work and, the journey of me choosing myself. Um, and how that doesn't mean anti-community. It's very much, self-love is a community act. So you'll see that. My website, theheartadvocate.com, has, some blogs that I've written back. I think the earliest was like 2017. Um, I don't blog as much now, but there's an array of topics like being in a relationship with a depressed partner to beauty standards and um, what self-love is and how to not internalize, the toxicities of this world, and choose yourself, which is a huge part of my story. Choosing singleness
Mm.
was a big thing, and just allowing that to be. Um, I also on Facebook have a support group called Healing Over Everything, um, where I just post encouragement in there and just some education but more encouragement, a safe space to get away from all of the toxic energy that can exist on social media because it's not all bad. It's all about who you follow. um yeah, that's less is more for me, so I that's where you'll find me. You're not going to find me on TikTok or X or no Snapchat. I'm not there. I have accounts, but I'm not on it. So, you can go look at my old stuff if you want. Um, but yeah, right now I'm in a season of allowing myself to just experience joy
Mhm.
and use the tools that I've learned since, 2015, um, to support who I'm becoming,
Yeah.
you know. So,
Well, thank you for continuing to give to yourself, to pour into yourself. I can see it. I benefit from you showing up like that. And then you document your journey and share with others how they can do the same. So,
mhm.
so grateful for your work. Everyone, check out The Heart Advocate. And thank you again for joining Shame to Shine.
Thank you, Stephanie.